This year marks the Division on Addiction's 10th annual Gambling Disorder Screening Day. To honor this momentous event, we conducted an interview with one of the founders of Screening Day, Dr. Debi LaPlante. In this interview, you will hear about the history of Gambling Disorder Screening Day, its growth, and hopes for future expansion. Dr. Debi LaPlante is director of the Division on Addiction, Cambridge Health Alliance, a Harvard Medical School teaching hospital, and an associate professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School. She joined the division during 2001 and has been involved with its diverse research, education, and outreach activities. With her colleagues, she developed the syndrome model of addiction and engaged in a seminal 10-year research program on internet gambling that was the first to use actual gambling records, rather than just self-report, to understand gambling behavior. She has authored dozens of book chapters, journal articles, and reports. In addition to her research on gambling, she is honored to collaborate with colleagues from the Healing Lodge of the Seven Nations on a large federally funded research project to support Native American youth in recovery from addiction. Along with her colleagues at the Division on Addiction, she founded Gambling Disorder Screening Day. She's happy to celebrate the 10th annual Screening Day event this year and looks forward to its growth around the world. This interview is hosted by Ms. Nikita Sconsoni, Community Health Educator at the Division on Addiction, Cambridge Health Alliance. Thank you for joining me today, Dr. LaPlante, to discuss Gambling Disorder Screening Day, its history, and how you see it progressing in the future. So first, we'll just dive right in with our first question. So Gambling Disorder Screening Day is an international grassroots event with the goal of encouraging and supporting providers to screen for gambling disorder. You helped establish this event in 2014, and we're celebrating the 10th annual Screening Day this year. So first, can you explain a little bit more about what Gambling Disorder Screening Day is and what prompted you to establish it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking me about this today, Nikita. But first, I just need to say that I am so excited that this is the 10th anniversary of Gambling Disorder Screening Day. And looking back, it kind of amazes me that it's been a decade. And I just want to start by thanking my colleagues, Drs. Heather Gray, Howard Schaefer, and Sarah Nelson for their work and helping get it started. And I want to thank you and Caitlin Matakiewicz and Kira Landauer, the division's community health educators, for what you do every year to keep it going and to advance it forward. But to answer your question, Gambling Disorder Screening Day, as you said, is an intervention and awareness event, and it's been modeled after similar screening programs that have that people have supported, like Depression Screening Day and Alcohol Screening Day. Participating is really simple. People can act as supporters, creating awareness through announcements, emails, social media, websites, and the media. And this is helpful because it alerts people to the possibility that gambling can create harm to individuals and those around them. We need to keep generating awareness because gambling lags behind other expressions of addiction in terms of knowledge and support. People can also act as screeners. In this case, they might hold an in-person or online screening events, providing people with tools to self-screen and resources for help should they need them. And this is helpful because it helps alert people who gamble to the possibility that gambling has become a problem in their life and that the problem is addressable. It also helps alert people who are in a position to help that those in their care might be struggling with gambling. For example, primary care settings might be an untapped path for referring to gambling treatment, and Screening Day could help open up that path.
Great, thank you. And I've only been, this is my second Screening Day, so I've already seen some differences between what it was like last year and how it's evolved into this year. So just like that one short time frame, things have grown tremendously. So we're excited to hear about its growth in the future, which leads me to my next question. How has Screening Day evolved over the past 10 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, people really have embraced Gambling Disorder Screening Day, and that's really so nice to see. It's been an entirely grassroots event each year, and we rely on our partners to help facilitate screening events and spread awareness about it more generally. When we started, we had about 9 organizations that participated in screening and about 13 that helped create awareness as supporters. And that year, there were, I think, at least 300 people who were screened. And those are just the numbers from the people who let us know, the Division on Addiction know, what they were doing and how it turned out. So there could be more. Since then, we've been in contact with more than 100 individuals and organizations who've indicated their participation and support in different ways. So participation has increased dramatically, and we're happy to support, even more growth. This year, with financial support from DraftKings, we were able to expand things like our resources. So, for example, we were able to translate pocket screener cards from English into Spanish and simplified Chinese. This support also allowed us to allocate more staff time to this event for things like webinars and podcasts, social media, activity and resource development. We also took the opportunity to create some durable resources to share with our longtime supporters, such as pens and sticky notes that can be used in screening events.
Yes, thank you for explaining that a little bit further. It is nice to hear what the numbers were from the very beginning, because considering I wasn't there at the beginning, so to hear those like actual data values from data that we can collect. Like you said, sometimes there's data that we're just not going to know about. So hearing the data that we have back then and knowing what it looks like now, that's a great progress that we have made throughout these past 10 years. So with that leads us to our final and third question. How do you hope to see Gambling Disorder Screening Day grow in the future?
Good question. Looking ahead, I'd like to see this be successful for another decade and then another decade after that. We'd like to understand the various mediums that Screening Day could be successful in. For example, we'd like to understand how well online Screening Day events might be. We'd also like to do some evaluation of Screening Day. As this event grows, we need to understand how it impacts those who are screened. How does it affect self-help, mutual help, assessment, and treatment experiences? Understanding this, I think, is a first step toward making this more impactful and making changes that might be needed. We'd like to expand our resources and do so in a way that resonates with people who do gamble. After all, if Screening Day is popular among researchers, advocates, and health providers, but unpopular among people who gamble, the impact of this event is going to be limited or even poor. And finally, I think we'd like to make sure that Gambling Disorder Screening Day provides support for a broad range of people, including those who are members of minoritized groups. These folks are less likely to seek help and to complete treatment for gambling. Part of the reason for this is stigma and discrimination. It's vital to understand the benefits and limitations of Gambling Disorder Screening Day from this perspective for minoritized groups, so that we can build upon the strengths and address the weaknesses. So there's lots to do, and we're happy to pursue all of these really important issues.
Thank you so much again, Dr. LaPlante, for joining me today. It's nice to hear some insights coming from somebody who co-founded Gambling Disorder Screening Day. And I know that I learned a lot of information from this talk, and I'm sure others will too. And we're looking forward to another 10 years of Gambling Disorder Screening Day. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I'm looking forward to it too.